Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh, I literally can't believe we are in 2018 already, February 2018, and it kind of just brought me to thinking, like, life goes by so quickly that sometimes you kind of don't even realize everything that God's doing in your life. You kind of like miss out on your blessings, or you even forget about your blessings. And it kind of just got me to thinking that I just wanted this topic today to be about counting your blessings. So counting your blessings is like, it could be in so many different ways. So my two ways is I have a blessings jar, and I journal. So I try to be very consistent in my journaling. Sort of, I try to do it every night, but it doesn't actually work out like that all the time. But excuse me, I try to keep it as consistent as possible. And I just think it's really important sometimes just to have a way or a method of staying on top of your blessings, just because life does go by so quickly. Like, you know, time flies by, and at times you are in a bad place or in a dark place that you don't even realize all the things that God has done in your life, that you don't even have, because you don't realize it or you've forgotten about it. You don't have that thing to look to. You don't have that past thing to look to and say it's actually going to be okay, because I know God is constant. God does this for me. You have that confidence. And personally, I think that when you keep track of your blessings, you're in constant reminder of how good God is and how well He's working in your life and how amazing He is. So for instance, the blessings jar, I know quite a few people have this. It was about like £1, £2 for Wilkinson's. I know you can get from like Asda or anywhere. And I cut up little bits. I cut up paper. Why can't I get my words out? I cut up paper and write down anything that I classify as blessing in my life, from events to my friends, anything that you count as a blessing or something amazing that's happened in your life. I feel you should write it down. So I'll give you some examples of things that I wrote down. So last year I got baptized, so I wrote down the date. You can't see it, but I wrote down the date and I got baptized. So it doesn't really always have to be an event. So another one is I went to a conference. So it was my first conference last year. It was the Colour Conference, a women's conference. So I wrote that down. I wrote down the date, and I also cut up my wristband and popped that in there. And I've done that with all the conferences I've gone to, just a reminder of how amazing they were. So like I said, it doesn't always have to be an event. So I was praying last year about forgiveness. I wanted God to rescue me from this unforgiving heart that I had. And I say had because I don't have an unforgiving heart anymore, because God answered my prayers. And even though I'm still learning and I'm still on that journey, I've started the journey. So I wrote that down. I wrote down, began on the path of forgiveness, because I count that as a blessing, because it's something I really struggled with, and God really saw me through that prayer. So like I said, something like that I wouldn't have just remembered. I just would have not even realised that God had answered that prayer if I didn't write that down. So I know it sounds silly, but it's true. Like, you forget, there's so many things you pray for day to day that there's little things that will go to miss if you don't write it down. So at the end of the year, I poured out everything in my blessings jar. And when I was reading, I was like, I even forgot I wrote that. I forgot I prayed about that. And it just goes to show, coming into 2018, if I had not done that, I would be coming into 2018 quite anxious, because I was in a position where I was leaving my job. And I would have been thinking, oh my gosh, I'm leaving my job. What's going to happen? God, please, 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 please. But when I read everything that I wrote down, I thought, you know, it's going to be fine. Like, look at all these things you've written about just in 1 year. So God's got you. You're going to be fine. And it gave me sort of this breath of fresh air. It gave me this relief, that to know that you have a working God. Like, he doesn't sleep, he doesn't rest, and he's got you. And for me personally, like I said, doing that helps me remember and is a source for me to go back to, and a reminder of how good God is, because sometimes we forget. And that's just only because we're human. There's nothing wrong with that. But as long as you have things in place, it doesn't have to be a blessing jar, it can be whatever you want. But it's not like on your walk, just whatever it is, that you are in a constant reminder of how good God is. So another thing I do is I journal. So I try to be as consistent as I can. I try to do it every night. It doesn't really work out every night because sometimes I'm just tired. Yes, I am. So this is one of my journals because I'm a collector of journals. So whenever I get a journal, I write a letter to myself, just where I am mentally, where I am emotionally, and the purpose of the journal. So it's a bit funny because I write to myself, so I call myself like, hello love, you write treacle. Like, I actually write to myself like I'm a stranger. But so I wrote this letter to myself when I first got this journal, and it's so funny because I was it was a couple of weeks ago, and I was really feeling down. Like, I was really just like, oh, like, God, please just like rescue me from this, like this feeling, like, just, you know, just show me, like, you know, I was just praying. Like, I was really like in a, you know, you pray, everyone prays, but you know when sometimes you've got that prayer like, God, please. And it's so funny because I don't even know what made me read this journal. So I went to the first page, and the things that I wrote down had actually come to pass. So a couple of things I wrote in the letter is that I had just come back off holiday, and I was like, right, so I'm back off holiday, I need to buy a camera, I need to start my YouTube channel, I need to do this, I need to do that. And literally everything that I had wrote down had happened. I bought the camera, I started the YouTube channel, I had my quote wall, like, and it was like, that I had forgotten. So when I read that, in that moment of darkness, in that moment of like tears, I was just like, it's gonna be okay. It's just that it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. You just need that sometimes. And sometimes that's God's way of showing you, I've showed you what I've done. You know what I can do. And we just need to remind ourselves sometimes and have that confidence in him that he actually does have our back, like he's got us. So yeah, so those are just a couple of things that I do. Like I said, you can do it in whatever way you want to do, whatever way makes you feel comfortable or keeps it constant, just because I believe that it's really important to count your blessings. It's really important to remember all that God's done for you, because when you are in that hard time, which those hard times come, there's no avoiding in hard times, you need a reminder, you need something driving you. And sometimes we pray, but it's like we're praying, but we're forgetting the prayers that we've already done and the prayers that God's already answered. So yeah, count your blessings, guys. Like, just do whatever you need to do to constantly remind yourself of how good God is, and he's got your back. He will never forsake you, and he will never leave you. And you hear those words all the time in church, it's in the Bible, you know, it's everywhere. But until you remind yourself, until you know, relive those moments, relive those blessings, relive those answered prayers, you will actually at times believe, oh my gosh, is he really going to come through this time? So, you know, I hope everyone's having a good year and you just count your blessings. So catch me next time, guys. Bye.